Yes, indeed. Welcome into another episode of Total Hockey Now here on the Total Hockey Now YouTube channel. Got the whole gang together today. My line mates, as always, at Ant Rivera 86 and at Fuzzy Chris 91. I am at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. It's a 15-game NHL slate. Plenty to get to today. Fantasy ads. We'll talk a little Western Conference trade tiers. If you want to go back and watch last week's episode, we did the Eastern Conference. Talk a little Islanders as well, as much as it pains me to kind of do that, but they deserve some props. But fellas, how we doing?
You said it, 15 games. Just a delight. Just so much hockey to watch. Multiple screens have to be going. Decisions have to be made in fantasy hockey, playing DFS as well. There's no better. I just cancel date night now. It's fine. Sit home, watch hockey.
It's like that, almost like that first night. What was that night that ESPN had where all the teams are playing?
Yeah, what did they call it? I forget.
Whatever it's called, but it's similar to that. At least I believe the NHL has some staggered starts as well. So there's something to be watched.
We should remember this. We should remember this, but the problem is it only happens once a year. That's the problem.
And if you were curious, the two teams not playing tonight, Chris and I figured out before the show, Ottawa and Columbus. Those are the two teams that have the night off and will get to enjoy the rest of the NHL. Their action. Like I said, we're going to get to some fantasy hockey ads for the week in a little bit and our picks later on Western Conference trade teams, Western Conference trade tiers via team later on. But first, gotta listen. Islanders were busy this week. They've made some trades. They're clearly gearing up to a playoff run. And considering the current state of the Metropolitan Division, and I'm not trying to jinx anybody here, Islanders are going to the playoffs. Let's just be real. They're pointing in that direction. You look at the Metropolitan Division. Carolina, Pittsburgh, and the Islanders have pretty much established themselves as those top three teams. At least right now, things can change. Still got a couple of months of hockey to go. But the Rangers are clearly selling. The Devils look like they're more in a retool to maybe come back next year. Philly, I feel like we talked about last week, they're probably more of a stand-pat team where like Washington, I'm not ready to count them out yet. And Columbus seems to be on the rise with the coaching change. But when you really look at the Metro, it's Carolina, it's the Islanders, and it's the Penguins right now.
Yeah, it's a good time to be an Islanders fan. It's not every day you end up being one of the better teams in New York. Sometimes I feel like the Islanders are the little brother and we just pick on them a lot and nobody really cares for them, but they have been bailed out a little bit by some elite goaltending, right? Doesn't matter who's in net for them, whether it's Sorokin or Rittich, they just seem to make the Islanders that much better. We'll see if it catches up to them in the playoffs, but they would need an epic collapse and some other teams in their division to go on an absolute run for them to not be in the playoffs. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that the Islanders were going to be the team out of the Hudson teams that would end up being in such a comfortable playoff position that they are in right now. Rangers, we were kind of, I felt like they were I've been on a while feeling that they were going to be on the downhill there. The Devils, I didn't think they were going to be this bad, honestly. And I'm not trying to be a homer, but I didn't think they were going to be this bad. And, yeah, the goaltending has not been good, especially from Markstrom. And this team has struggled to score, and it's just been a mess all season long. And they're probably going to stand pat. That's what Tom Fitzgerald likes to do. He waits too long, and now it might be too late. I mean, they're way out of playoff. It's just too much to overcome. The Capitals that are ahead of you, the Blue Jackets, the Flyers, and the Islanders. Chris talked about the goaltending. We've had some terrible goaltending this year around the league, and the Islanders have been one of the better teams. They got a nice little tandem there. And if you are a tandem, picker in fantasy hockey, I hope you have both Sorokin and Rittich.
If you look at the Islanders, they acquire Carson Soucy from the Rangers for a third-round pick, and then a couple days later, they send out Maxim Siplikov for Andre Palat, a contract the Devils are trying to get off the books, and they get a third-round pick back in that deal, so that kind of replaces the one you lost for Carson Soucy. So the Islanders, these aren't major splashes, but the depth moves are what you need. If you're not going to do anything major, and the Islanders were already playing well. Now they're just kind of plugging in a couple of holes here and there. Who knows how much more Matthew Darsh has to do? Like we said, there's going to be like kind of like true two trade deadlines this year before the Olympic roster freeze and then the actual trade deadline about, I think, 9 days after they get back and start playing some hockey. So there we go. New York Islanders. Definitely a tough.
Will you guys be jumping on the Islanders bandwagon? No? Okay, that's too far.
Listen,
Gotcha.
like you can't root for one of those other teams amongst those three unless you're rooting again. Like both of them hate the Rangers, the Islanders, the Devils. So you can root for the Islanders or the Devils if you're a fan of one of those playing the Rangers. But like the Islanders play the Devils. I mean, I've been to Islander Devil games. I don't root. I just want a good game. That's all I care about.
I don't mind it. I don't mind rooting for the Islanders here.
I see. There you go. But he would never root for the Rangers. Like it's not happening. They'll be the Rangers and Islanders are playing a back half of a back-to-back tonight. We'll get to that and our picks later. Don't forget, those are all going to be coming up at 5:35 p.m. Eastern time. And I'm sure we'll talk plenty more Islanders as we get down the stretch here. Another thing we want to get into is we've been doing Fantasy Focus every week. We're doing our fantasy ads of the week here. And I'm going to open up the floor to Christopher here. Who is your fantasy hockey ad of the week?
Right out of the gate here, it's Jared McCann. I feel like a lot of people forget that he exists, which is fair because he plays in Seattle. He's had some injuries this year, but he has 26 points in 28 games, 14 goals, 12 assists. He's doing the Lord's work here, really. Against Washington, 4-point night, right? So it's right fresh in the memory. Only 41% owned. Now, granted, he is listed as a center. That's not what he plays. He has dual position eligibility, though, which is important if you're trying to, get him into the lineup somewhere. He's not going to take a ton of faceoffs. He's not throwing his weight around. He's not blocking shots. But he is doing the thing that we want hockey players to do, score goals, rack up points. And Seattle needs somebody to do it because despite missing, he's played basically half the games. And he's sixth in scoring on his team. So that kind of tells you the depth of the Seattle Kraken in general. If he can stay healthy, which again is a big if here, solid run down the stretch can probably help your fantasy team in the playoffs. There are worse options out there than Jared McCann. So if you need a body, he is one that is worth keeping an eye on.
Skating on that top line with Matty Beniers and Jordan Eberle's on the top power play, running the point next to Vince Dunn there. So yeah, I mean, listen, that's in Seattle. I know that we'll talk more there. They are more of a traditionally under team this season, but they're hanging around. They're playing good hockey. They're going to be in the mix for a playoff spot, unless things go really south for them here over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, Jared McCann got back in the lineup and kind of picked up where he left off. Now, Ant, who do you got for this week?
I'm heading to your hometown around San Jose and picking up
current town, not my hometown.
Okay, all right. Current town. You're supporting that team right now, though. But so Alex Nedeljkovic, right? Did I do that correctly?
You did. Nedeljkovic.
Okay, perfect. Yes, goalie. He is 8-6, I think it is, in his last. I'm sorry, no, he's 10-8 this season for San Jose, but since the beginning of January, he's 5-1. He's getting a good batch of games here. I think they're just going back and forth between him and Askarov, and I think that's a wise pickup if you want to get some games in here. He's coming up to going to be playing. Vancouver's coming up. I'm sorry. He's not playing tonight against Edmonton. No, they got Calgary and Chicago coming up in the next couple of games, so that's going to be a nice way to throw him in there. And if you need a goalie, because right now it's either your goalies stink or there's not enough out there, and you really have to scrounge for some goalies. And I think this is a good ad for now. I mean, things can change. Obviously, the winning streak could go away, but he's 5-1, and he's won his last 5 games in a row. He'll get you the saves there and the save percentage as well.
It's going to lead into mine, which is not a specific player, but because you brought Nedeljkovic up, and it's an excellent example of if your team is clearly a team that has a 1A, 1B where they alternate goalies, or it's like 2 starts, 1 start, 3 starts, 1 start. Now's the time to start picking up those handcuffs. And there are teams where like Anaheim, Lucas Dostal, he's the guy. He's going to be the guy that gets. So that's not, but the Sharks are a perfect example because over the past month, while we all thought it would be Askarov 1 Nedeljkovic too. It's kind of changed a tiny bit lately because of the way Nedeljkovic has been playing. So yeah, like a team like San Jose where they're winning games and they're rotating both goalies, that's a team you absolutely want to get the handcuffs in situation for. Even Detroit, I know Cam Talbot's bad and they're rolling with John Gibson, but Gibson gets hurt. They're going to have to lean on Talbot. I don't know if they're going to go and give Sebastian Casa a ton of work, but if it's a team like Boston, they play Korpisalo a decent amount. If it's a team that wins, like I won't recommend Calgary because yes, we know Devin Cooley's going to get starts on the road over Dustin Wolf, but even Columbus, Rick Bowness seems to like playing Merzlikins. Jet Greaves is the better goalie, we think, but those are teams that like have the handcuffs ready because once you get to the stretch run, trying to get into the playoffs and beyond, you really want to start like Anthony talked about. It's just a poor state of goaltending overall this year. You can try and stream guys, which I don't recommend. I'd rather just know that like I have a decent handcuff on it from a good team, and every time they play, I've got their guy. That's the thinking.
Yeah, stay far away from Calgary. Just I'll tell you that. Even Dustin Wolf, because he gives up 4 goals a night. Like it's just automatic that he's going to give up 4 goals. I was torn between Nedeljkovic as well as Dobish, but he doesn't get the split right now that Nedeljkovic is going to get. And also out there right now would be wise to pick up is Charlie Lindgren because Logan Thompson's out right now, so Lindgren's going to get most of the game. So if you want to pick him up as well, there's another name.
Florida with Tarasov, they're going to play him down the stretch. Hasn't been a good year for Bobrovsky. They may try and he's for a goalie, he's like rail thin when he takes that gear off. I think we've all seen that picture by now. So Tarasov, that's a good one right there. We said Columbus. You mentioned Lindgren right there. Even the Islanders with Riddick. I mean, yes, Sorokin's the guy and they're going to play him, but they're going to want him rested for the playoffs. So you're going to want they've been playing Riddick enough that he's worth a spot. So those are definitely some options to have.
Definitely towards the end of the season that you're going to see a lot of these guys rest so that they could get ready for the playoffs. So it is wise, especially, this has been one of the worst goaltending seasons for fantasy hockey. It doesn't matter who you have. Like even some of the top guys have had some rough outings out there. So you just, not to stream them like you said, but just be aware of who's out there, especially if someone goes on. Even if you just need it for a pinch, just check out who's out there. If you need one goaltender or whatever, it's wise to keep up with all the goalies right now because it fluctuates right now.
Seattle and Edmonton, another 2 good teams that you should be. Dallas with Ottinger and DeSmith. Ottinger I know he looked all right against St. Louis the other night, but I think one of us could probably put a decent night between the pipes against the Blues. Minnesota, we talked about in previous episodes how Wallstead and Gustafsson are 1-2 alternates. Like those are, Colorado, if you don't already have it at this point, the Wood brothers, Blackwood and Wedgwood. So yeah, make sure you're gearing up and getting ready for playoff runs and shoring up your goalie categories. Now,
I have all the wood in our league.
You do have all the wood in our league.
I have all the wood. All the Blackwood and Wedgwood is all mine.
I may have to make a move for Wallstead if you're Chris Wassel, you're watching. I'm interested. So let me know. We'll talk about we do fantasy stuff every week here on Total Hockey Now, but now we got to get to we're 15 minutes away from making our picks from the 15-game Thursday night slate. Last week we did our trade deadline tiers here, and we did for the Eastern Conference. Today we'll do the Western Conference, and looking here at the screen. So again, the categories are the following. We're looking at shopping spree, plug a hole or two. Stand pat, soft sell, crazy Eddie sale. So we didn't have a ton of sellers from the Eastern Conference last week. There's a lot of teams. I think that's going to be a little different out west here. So Calgary, they already moved Rasmus Anderson. We know Kadri's going. If you're interested in somebody on the Flames, they will listen to an offer, unless his name is Dustin Wolf. So there we go. So any problems with putting the Flames in the crazy Eddie sale category?
No, I don't think anyone wants Dustin Wolf anyway right now. To be honest, I just don't think so.
Bring Vancouver in there. Let's bring them right next to Calgary. Let's just slide them in there. There's another team. If you want something, just literally just ask. It's a garage sale there. You show up, you have $10 in your hand, and you say, "What can I buy?" And they're like, "Hey, here's an Evander Kane, baby. Whatever you need, they'll give it to you."
Now, there are the next two teams I want to bring. We could probably throw the Blues in there too. Braden Shen, Robert Thomas. Those are, we could throw them in that category.
Neighbors.
Yeah.
Right, Jake Neighbors.
The Blues are another one. Like, we're like, hey, you want something? Just call. Just call. We'll probably work something out. It is like it's borderline like a yard sale. You're not trying to haggle because like, oh, I'm going to hold on. Like, you want everything out. So you're willing to like, all right, fine. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Clean house. So definitely those three teams in the Crazy Eddie sale category. I'm tempted. The Predators belong in soft sell or Crazy Eddie sale because here's the thing: Ryan O'Reilly's name's still getting thrown out there. So yeah, well, the Predators are a streaky team and they play well some nights and don't. They're going to move that. We saw, I believe it was Jeff Marek threw out a potential like, hey, what if the Sharks were interested in Roman Josi or something like that? So I don't see them moving Josi, but I mean, if you called them up and gave them something too good to look past,
I think they should be a soft sell. I mean, it's unfortunate because they went out, they did all this buying in one off season, and it's just hasn't worked. And again, they're in such a brutal division. It's like, hey, do you really want to go all out, try to squeak in just to get smacked by Colorado? Like, or what's your other like consolation prize? Having to play Edmonton if they win their division? Like, it just doesn't seem worth it at that point.
And sometimes like you say like, oh, what's the point of getting into the playoffs of the Predators to get smacked around the first round? Yes, I know they've played Colorado very well. Maybe that's a team they want to see. But for a team like Nashville getting in there, doesn't really do anything. But like a team like the Sharks, like, okay, fine. They go and they lose in 4 or 5 games to the Avalanche. But for a young team like that, to just get some playoff experience, get a taste of that, like that's good for the future. So sometimes it's not a total waste. What's the point of making the playoffs? You're just going to get the doors beat off. No, like a team like the Sharks, that would make sense. Now the Blackhawks,
I would a Crazy Eddie sell for the Predators, honestly, because this is 2 years now in a row. Like you mentioned, the shopping spree they went on last year, it didn't work out. They tried to, go back to the well again, and it still hasn't worked out. I would try to, sell those guys off and try to move in a different direction.
Okay. Now, where do we put the Blackhawks? Are we putting them in soft sale or Crazy Eddie sale? They're in one of those two.
Soft sell, yeah. Listen, they don't have to, like, you need some veterans there. And to be honest, they don't really have like a ton that's worth moving, right? Like they're getting there. It's been a slower process, but they're getting there. They don't sell off major pieces, just stuff that you can move, collect a couple of picks. Yeah. Don't go crazy. Keep
Bedard's not going anywhere.
Bedard's not going anywhere. Nazar's not going anywhere. I don't think guys like Donato's signed. Like, I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think Bertuzzi's going anywhere. Like, they have some pieces. I don't think Foligno's going anywhere. Like, they got guys who can hang around a little bit, be part of the process a little bit longer. They don't have to strip all that away for nothing.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's do some of the teams on the higher end of the tier here. So obviously Vegas lives their entire life in a shopping spree. They're in that category until further notice. Until you hear otherwise, they're in the shopping spree. It doesn't matter what time of the year for them either.
So that salary cap doesn't exist to them. Somebody was like, oh, they can't be in on the Panarin race because he wants an extension. I was like, imagine thinking that matters to the Vegas Golden Knights. They don't care. It doesn't make a difference.
Now, here's where it gets interesting. I don't know how many other teams I would put necessarily in the shopping spree category. I can see a lot of teams in the plug a hole or two, but like the Avalanche made their big move by getting Brock Nelson last year. He's locked up. He's playing playing really good hockey here over the last 6 weeks. So, like, let's talk about those higher teams. Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota. Any of them shopping spree, or are they all more of a, like, hey, we kind of got what we got at this point. We'll plug some holes, but we're not making any drastic changes.
The Wild and the Stars probably should be in a shopping spree. I mean, if they want to take it to the next level, if you want to beat Colorado, you want to beat Vegas, even the Oilers, if you want to throw the Oilers in there, if you want to beat those teams, you better start spending because – Minnesota gets to the first round. Dallas could get to the conference final, but that's it. So I think that they are the two teams that probably need to make the biggest moves. And for Colorado, yeah, it's either plug a hole or two or just stand pat. I mean, they only have 7 losses this season. I mean, what more could they do?
been a little bumpy for them lately, but yeah, overall it's been a great season. But I can't see, if they're trying to make a push, I would say they may try and move a hole or two there. Minnesota is in on Ryan O'Reilly. They want to add another center there. They already went out and got Quinn Hughes. I heard that they were kicking the tires on Nico Hischier. I don't think that happens. I think the Devils would be stupid to move him out.
No,
right now.
don't torture me like that. I just got the jersey. Please. Please.
No, I don't think that's going to happen. But I did see that. Bottom line is Minnesota is looking at a center. That's where they're hunting here for the next couple of months until the trade deadline. So, yeah,
maybe Jack will go. Maybe Jack Hughes will go because he wants to play with Quinn.
that is sting, right? I think like Minnesota should. I just think that their big acquisition was already done. They don't have a ton of like picks and stuff ready to go the other way. So they probably end up being a plug a hole or two versus like like even if they have to add a center, I don't think it'll be a top center. I think they'll find somebody who can slot into that second or third line center kind of role. They're strapped, right? A little bit. So they got to do what they got to do. Dallas, the same thing. I don't see them going out doing a ton. I mean, how much more can you add? This is a question of just the team being better. Just be better, right? I would throw the Oilers into that plug or hole or two
because they're hamstrung. They can only plug a hole or two. They can't go shopping.
Yeah, they have no money. The credit card is maxed out even when they get to the deadline. So just plug a hole or two. If anything, if they stood pat, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. That's exactly what your team is. I will throw one into the shopping spree here that should be it, and that is the San Jose Sharks. Like they are. Listen. This is as close as they've been to a playoff spot in what feels like 300 years, okay? They're right there. Now, this is a team that has some holes, right? Like, there's no question about it. There's Macklin Celebrini, and then there's whoever, and then the gang. The goaltending still needs to be better. They're still giving up too many chances, whatever. But, listen, it sounds like a great time living, around the Bay Area and in California where it is not cold, no matter what any of you say. Like, let's again, let's say if Artemi
Sierra Nevada is 8,000 feet elevation, that's not real cold. Come on, buddy.
We're not doing this again. All this to say, if Artemi Panarin wants to go, like they have money, right? They have money. The Sharks have money. So if it's a question of paying somebody, like go ahead and do so. And that would be a massive add for a player who can still contribute and kind of provide some support to the kids. Like, no offense to Tyler Toffoli, but he's not Artemi Panarin. And that would just be a massive jolt to a team that's already kind of like the vibes are good. But now we have to start winning.
See, the reason why I put them in a plug a hole or two category, to me, a shopping spree team is like, all right, we're ready to make a run at the cup. Not to make a play like, hey, let's get deep in the playoffs, see what happens. The Sharks are not there yet. And what I worry about, and I know Panarin's name is getting connected to the Sharks. What did the Rangers do when they got Panarin? They had sent the letter out to the fan base a season or two before that. Hey, we're going to be ripping this thing down. And they were doing a proper rebuild. Then Panarin became a free agent, and it was not a well-kept secret that he wanted to play with the Rangers. So what did they do? They kind of abandoned that rebuild plan to bring Panarin in. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say it was a bad decision or whatever, but they got the 2 conference finals, didn't work out. That happens. Not everybody can win. If Panarin he's going to want an extension where he signs. Like, the Sharks are not going to go out and rent Panarin. If they're going to get Panarin, they're going to extend him. If they can get Panarin to be like, hey, accept a 3-year deal and we'll pay you a little extra for that, I'm on board with that. But if he's going to want some 5-6-year deal at 35 years old, I don't want that. I don't. That's going to
be like 5 years, 10 mil a season.
What's that contract going to look like the last 2 years when he's not playing? And I understand the Sharks should be better by then. I'm just saying.
But you send him to Robitaille Island, right? On LTIR. He comes down with some, fails his physical or so. Allegedly, of course. Allegedly, Gary. But true, I will stand by that. Yes. But I also think that that would be a jolt to a team that I wouldn't say needs it, but you're right there. You know what I mean?
My career announcing all right, I'm done rebuilding. And like you kind of saw that with the Wenberg signing, like, okay, they want Wenberg around. He's going to be a guy they count on. So yeah, like I don't, as long as it's, I don't think Greer would overpay for Panarin. I think he's too shrewd of a GM to get caught up in something like that. Like, I got to have him. I don't care what it costs. If it's the right price and you get the right contract extension, 100%. I just don't want them to fall into the same trap the Rangers kind of did to a degree.
That's fair.
So I'm going to put them in the plug a hole or two, but it would not surprise me if they were going on a shopping spree because they've been linked to Dougie Hamilton. So we know they want a right-handed shot defenseman. That's probably their number one priority to improve at the deadline. So I got 5 teams to go here. Let's rattle through the California teams here.
Can we put the Ducks in the same pool as the Sharks? No pun intended.
I mean, you can, but the Shark will probably eat the Duck. But yeah, you can throw them in there. I mean, it's probably not good for the Duck.
We'll separate them, though. We'll make sure somebody's in the middle and make sure. But yes, plug a hole or two there. They need some help on that back end. They need to find some guys who can at least help them defend a little bit better. They're not missing much. We'll see how the health of Leo Carlson and Mason McTavish goes, but maybe another veteran leader, something on the blue line to help, makes them a better team.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a crack in between the Shark and the Duck to provide some defense there and a little bit of a barrier. So I don't think the octopus or the squid would eat the Duck. And I think if you're the Kraken and you're close, you're not going to go crazy, but you might. I mean, they move Marchman out. Maybe they make another tweak or two. So I think I would put them in a plug or hole category.
You think they're plugging a hole?
I mean, it's either that or standing pat. I don't think they're soft selling. I don't think they're crazy Eddie sailing.
No, I don't think they're crazy Eddie sailing, but
the Kings are right there with them as well.
Yeah, I would put the Kings in stand pat. I don't see them going. I mean, unless they wanted to address goaltending because Kemper gets hurt.
Kings have no idea what they're doing. Yeah, I don't know what their identity is today. They're just hanging out.
I'd throw Winnipeg in there too. I can't unless they get hot, unless all of a sudden Winnipeg starts playing like the team that we thought would be one of the top 3 in the Central. Like if they get back into that mode, maybe they go to plug a hole too, but I don't think they do much. I think they stand pat.
I think so too.
The Mammoth,
not good.
The Mammoth should probably be in plug a hole or two, don't you think?
So they're in one of these two. Now, you talk about like the Sharks, like it would be a big boon for them to like make that big move, get in the playoffs, see what happens. I would think that would make sense for Utah, where especially, and listen, I understand the suffering of being a Coyotes fan doesn't necessarily transfer over to a new Utah Mammoth fan, but you know, Ryan Smith's the owner there. He's said straight up like he wants to. He's following through on everything he said so far.
Yep.
So I'm not going to say shopping spree. They're not ready for that, but yeah, I think they're in the plug a hole or two category. So basically, just Vegas is a shopping spree.
I would have put Utah in there. One owner, like you said, Ryan Smith, deep pockets. We've seen that he's willing to do whatever it takes to help this team financially be where they need to be, right? If you need to go out, make your team better, he's going to sign the check and say, okay, let's do it, right? I had talked about it thinking that maybe one of those sleeper spots where Panarin ends up, depending on how he feels about living in Salt Lake City. But listen, again, they have lots of space on the salary cap. You can bring in another player who he doesn't have to be the face. You know what I mean? He can come in there, play his role, do what he's got to do, right? Takes a little bit of the load off as well. Some of the guys around there, right? Dylan Guenther, I'm thinking of Cooley as well, can certainly help Clayton Keller. Like he can come in and just be part of what needs to be done there. Now, again, the other side of it is he has a full no move clause. Do you want to hang out in Utah? I feel like if the money is right, why not?
I'll say this, and I still think Panarin's going to go to Detroit. No, but I think that they're going to come. I think they're going to make an offer and try and reunite him with Kane. Utah, why not? For Panarin, I mean, he'd be. I mean, you look at their wings right now. Keller, Peterka, Boston Krause is playing well, but let's face it, he's not going to keep that up for too long. So I think, if you're Ryan Smith and you want to make a splash, you go in and bring a guy. Now, again, Panarin's got to be willing to go to Salt Lake City. I don't know if he is, but if the guy wants to play playoff hockey, he could do worse.
And helps Utah's very anemic power play. Their power play is not good. He could slot right in there, sling a disc around a little bit. I'm just saying.
All right. So the only problem here is now the Duck and the Shark are next to each other. So we're gonna have to get something between. Well, we'll put the Minnesota Wild there. That way that we have a barrier, so the Duck has a chance to live. Tank there. All right. So there we go. We did our Eastern Conference last week. Make sure you go and check that out. But our Western Conference NHL deadline team tiers here in the shopping spree category, we've got the Vegas Golden Knights and the Utah Mammoth. And the plug a hole or two category, the Avalanche, Stars, Oilers, Sharks, Wild, and Ducks. Stand pat category would be the Kraken, Kings, and Jets. Soft sell Blackhawks and the Crazy Eddie sale, Flames, Canucks, Blues, and Predators. You've got thoughts on this and you'd like to weigh in, please reach out on social media or email the show, totalhockeynow@gmail.com. But it is just past 5:35 Eastern, 2:35 Pacific, so you know what that means, right? It's time to get to our Thursday pick. I enjoy. I think Chris really likes that theme. He's bouncing his head around a little bit.
It's kind of vibing. It's kind of a bobbing. I'm stoked. 15 games. 15
games. Like you said, if this was supposed to be a date night, bad job by you not looking at the schedule. Imagine. All right. So here we go. So now we're gonna go through, and there is no shortage of 7:00 Eastern games tonight. Like none whatsoever. And just to go back to last week so we can talk about how we did over in week 15. Let's see here. So I went 6-2 to go up to 63-49. Chris was 4-3 to 57-43, and a good 3-2 to 33-25. 13-7 combined week for the three of us. So
nice.
Looking good. All right.
That means listen to what we're telling you.
Now listen, it's 15 games. I'm sure we're gonna have one game where we don't make any picks. I mean, I tried to really go through and give you as much as I could, at least from the slate. But we'll start off with the Flyers at the Bruins, 7:00 Eastern, puck drop there. It's going to be Jeremy Swayman for the Boston Bruins. Was not updated the last time I looked for the Flyers. Let's refresh there.
I think it's Sam Erison getting.
I was going to say Sam Erison because last night was Vladar, and I don't think they would play him back-to-back nights coming back off an injury. So, yeah, we'll say Samuel Erson's going there.
Rough night for Vladar, too.
Yeah, I mean, he made a really nice save there. Yeah, Erson confirmed as of about 15 minutes ago. Looking on the money line here, as DraftKings always decides to refresh on me at that point. Bruins minus 155, Flyers plus 130 on the money line. Total is 6.5. And if you're looking for a regulation victory in this game, Philly plus 190, Bruins plus, even money. The total now is gone. I had it at over 6 minus 120. So it's 6.5 in some spots. The Flyers are 31-27 to the over, 17-9 on the road to the over. Bruins are slightly above 500 to the total at home. Boston does the legwork here, but with Erson and net, all I just need is the Flyers to get to 1 or 2. So I'm going to go over 6 here, minus 120.
No,
I know Chris is not a fan. I can just tell by the look at that.
No, I can't do that. If the total went up. Like,
at least
I know Samuel, I know Erson's bad at his job, but Jeremy Swayman is not. So
I mean, he went up half a goal, but I mean, that is some move.
That's too much. You're telling me
it's still 6 at most books. DraftKings has it at 6.5. Most other places have it at 6.
I will go under 6.5. If that number is there, I'll go under 6.5. The Bruins can pound, right? But the Flyers they're just not exciting. They don't score goals. They don't give up a bunch. Even with Erison, I don't expect this to be back and forth hockey between these two teams. Yes, it's on a back-to-back night, but even if it's like 5-1, that's still less than 6.5, right? Math is math. So 6.5 is too much. If that number is going up at certain spots, let me go the other way.
I recognize the push potential on my over 6 there, so I'm okay with that.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll stay
Tony
away.
Rivers staying away. Probably listen. Yeah, it's probably the smart move there.
You and I arguing over: is it over? Is it under? And then the mediator here to break the tie was like, "Nah, you guys figure it out."
He's like, one of you'll be right, one of you'll be. Next on the docket, Predators at Devils. Another 7:00 Eastern puck drop here. Looking at the goaltending matchups for tonight, it's going to be, what did they say it was? It's going to be Markstrom. I knew that, and Justice Noonan going for the Predators. Now, I had no play here initially, I thought maybe Saros would go, and if he did, I was staying away. But now that it's a Noonan versus Markstrom, total 6.5. Devils minus 135 on the money line. Predators plus 114. Kind of tempted to go over 6.5 plus 110. The Noonan Markstrom matchup.
Listen, I will take the Nashville Predators money line because, listen, Jacob Markstrom just can't tend the goal very well. That's just, facts are facts here. Not that I trust a Noonan more, but the Devils also struggle to score goals, and there's no reason they should not be. Wishy-washy kind of both ways. I don't know how many goals, but there's good enough value there on the Predators. If I can get them at plus money, we're straight on the money line, I'll take my chances.
I thought about that too, but it's been a little bumpy for them lately. Now, if it was Saros, I'd probably take that ride, but Noonan, I don't know. He lost his last start 7-2. Then he won 3-2 before that, 1-4-2. I mean, he's won 3. He was winning before that, but I mean, it was a pretty bad start to the season. He's one to let goals in. So,
okay, that's fair.
I'm right there with you. Over 6.5 on this one. Markstrom has been doo-doo.
It's like if Markstrom plays, it's like at this point, like you probably just bet the over when Markstrom plays at this. Has it gotten to that level?
Yeah, basically. Whatever his total is as a goalie, over 2.5, just slam it, move on.
All right. So first two games, we got some picks across the board there. Let's stay in that 7:00 Eastern window there. We got the Blackhawks at the Penguins. It's going to be Arvid Soderblom versus Artur Shilovs there. So we got a little AS goalie matchup. Look at that. So Connor Bedard, 1 goal and 4 assists in 9 games since returning from a shoulder injury. Pittsburgh's got a 7-game point streak. Evgeny Malkin, 9 points in that run. 3-game goal streak. By the way, going back just the Predators Devils game, Roman Yossi's next goal will be career goal number 200. So good for him. Looking at the, like we said, Soderblom versus Shilovs, I've got 2 plays in this game. I like over 6 at minus 125, and I like the Penguins to take it in regulation minus 115. The overplay is entirely based on Soderblom. He's had a better January, but overall 874 save percentage, 375 goals against. Pittsburgh is 10th in average goals scored. And I think they'll do the lifting here to get to that over. Penguins are on a 4-game winning streak. Blackhawks are on a 3-game losing streak. I'm going to ride the hot hand here to regulation victory.
The Penguins are 7-7 at home. They see extra time a little bit too much. So I can't take them in regulation. Here's what I'm going to do instead. I'm going to take the Penguins puck line. So I'm going to take them minus 1.5. I'm going to hope the empty, like if they go to overtime and even if they win, you're like, well, I wouldn't have won anyway. So I'm going like just all out here. Soderblom is like, he's okay, but he's no Spencer Knight. And the Devils, the Penguins have been able to fill the back of the net. Like the offense isn't great, but the power play is operating. So if they get enough chances, they should be good. Chicago is one of the least disciplined teams in the NHL. I think it's the Bruins and then it's the Blackhawks. So if they get into a lot of penalty trouble, yes, their penalty kill is good. But at some point, if you give good teams opportunities to score, they will do it. So I will take the Penguins puck line here, maybe an empty net goal to kind of help alleviate the stress.
Tony Rivers.
I'll take the over 6.5 here with what we got going on in net for both teams here. So let's go over 6.5.
And it's going to go over 6.5 minus 102. I'll pay for the insurance at 6. And yeah, we're expecting a nice little game in Pittsburgh there tonight. Penguins are minus 185 on the money line. Blackhawks plus 154. On to the next game here. Jets at Lightning. Winnipeg 6-2-2 in their last 10. Tampa Bay's got a 6-game home winning streak, 15-1-1 in their last 17. I know Buffalo is fantastic, but that gets overshadowed a little bit there. Andrei Vasilevsky, 13-game point streak, 12-0-1. Kucherov, 6-game point streak, 3 goals, 10 assists. It's Hellebuck versus Vasilevsky, so you're getting the premier goaltending matchup there. Looking at on the money line there, Tampa Bay minus 192, Winnipeg plus 160. Totals 5.5. I'm going under 5.5 minus 105. Outside of that 8-5 loss to Columbus, Tampa Bay has gone under this total in 6 of their last 7. Winnipeg is a little bit more of an over team than an under team this season, but with a Vasi Hellebuck goaltending matchup, That's one. If you play the under every time those two play, you're going to hit more often than not. Tampa's the second stingiest team in the league. Winnipeg tied for 14th. It's been a bumpy month for Hellebuck, but I think we got a goaltending duel tonight. So I'll take that under 5.5 minus 105.
Right there with you, bud. Listen, Connor Hellebuck is good. Unfortunately, the team in front of him is not. But the Jets don't generate much offense. So Vasilevsky should have that in control. Like Tampa Bay can do some damage. They're also a very penalized team, but I feel like most of those penalty minutes come when they play the Panthers. So I don't know how realistic it is. Anyways, Tampa Bay does have a really good penalty kill. So if they get in trouble, the Jets don't necessarily operate well on the power play. They're not teams that shoot the puck a ton. They defend pretty well for all the reasons you had stated. 5.5 sometimes feels like a good spot to go over, but I think we do get a goaltending matchup here, like a 4-1 finish or 3-1 finish, the empty netter kind of thing there. So I'll go the under as well.
Why not do it?
Let's make it a trifecta, boys.
Yeah.
Let's go. What a matchup. Come on.
That's perfect. There,
yes.
I mean, like you said, like there's certain matchups where you look at it like, oh, that looks like an over or an under, and then you start to do research, and you're like, oh, it's actually going to kind of go the other way. No, I think this one is very much a just go with the under with your gut, and it should get you home. There we go. Next up,
goalie matchup of the night.
So I think the matchup of the night is actually going to be the next game here. Mammoth at Hurricanes, 7:00 Eastern. Utah 9-1-1 in their last 11. Clayton Keller 3 goals, 11 assists in that span. Carolina 8-1-2 in their last 11, and only 7 goals allowed during their 5-game point streak. Brandon Bussey can get to 20 wins in 24 games tonight, and that would be an NHL record for the shortest amount of time to get to 20 career wins. So looks like Bussey's the guy moving forward here. It's going to be Karel Vejmelka on the in the other cage. Looking on the money line here, Carolina heavy home favorite minus 170, Mammoth plus 142. Total is 5.5 at DraftKings, although it's at 6 in plenty of other spots there. And I'm going under 6 here. They're the 6th and 7th stingiest teams in the league, respectively. Vejmelka's got a 201 goals against and a 925 save percentage in his last 9 games, in which he's gone 8-1. Bussey also 3-game winning streak while with posting a 1.02 goals against and a 957 save percentage and 8-2 over his last 10. Both teams are capable of putting the puck in the net, but I think this is this has, again, like the last game, you look at it and you say, oh, that's an under. The way these teams are going right now, I think we go under.
Yeah, listen, I'm right there with you. Under 6. These are two teams that allow fewer than 26 shots on goals per game, penalty kill above 80%. They're not very penalized teams either. They play very, they're disciplined hockey team. Yes, they can score, but I mean, Carolina, they have 4 of their last 5 wins. They've given up just 1 goal. So they give up 1. The only danger is they could absolutely pound you because they shoot the puck more than anybody. They generate offense. They have a ton, like all 3 of their lines can contribute. But with Vejmelka and net holding down the ground with what he's done this season, I think we're in for one of those real tight games. I could even see this game probably going to overtime as well, kind of like a 1-1 thing, and then it's got to be settled in a shootout. I don't see this being a barn burner one way, not with these 2 netminders. Do it.
Gentlemen, for the first time, I think, in Total Hockey Now history, we have back-to-back trifectas here.
That is crazy.
I mean, we want to guarantee that it's going to go over now. But nonetheless, I think, listen, could I see this turning into like a 4-3 kind of game, 5-3? They both have the firepower to do it, but that's not the way they've been playing lately. And with the defensive efforts both have been getting, I think I think there's going to be a lot of feeling out tonight. It's not going to be a lot of aggressive going down the rink, attacking kind of play there. So that's the game of the night to me, without a doubt. So that's of the 8 7:00 Eastern puck drops. That's the one to watch. Next up on the list here, this is not one to watch unless you're an Islander. Islanders won last night. The Islanders are 3-0 against the Rangers this season. They're looking for the 3rd season sweep in franchise history over the Blue Shirts. Rangers are a pitiful 2-8-1 in their last 11 games there. It's going to be Ilya Sorokin versus Jonathan Quick. Looking at DraftKings right now, Islanders road favorites at -142. Rangers home dogs at +120. The total's 5.5 at DraftKings, although it is at 6 in a lot of places. Listen, they went over last night 5-2. You know how my opposite rule works. Going under 6 -110. It's Sorokin tonight, so you'll probably get even less goals than what Riddick only gave up 2 last night. The other 2 meetings that they played this season cleared this total as well. Islanders on the rise. The Rangers are prepping for a yard sale. I'm going to go under here. Low scoring affair.
I'm going to go the mortgage on the Islanders puck line. The Islanders, the Rangers have scored 2 goals against the Islanders in 3 games this season. They've been shut out in 2 of them. It was absolutely remarkable that the Rangers were able to score yesterday. And this was on the road. So, yeah, they were on the road. They scored. They come back home, which means they're not going to be able to score. Having any faith in Jonathan Quick right now, homie just wants to retire, live on 75th floor of his penthouse. Just give me the Islanders for every reason. Like, the Rangers could potentially not score tonight, and that's not a stretch. And then just an empty netter to get us to the puck line. I think what is it? Puck line is like -1. +1 something. Like, I don't know what
180 right now at DraftKings.
Like, why is it that crazy to look at the Islanders, who are one of the best defensive teams in the league? I know the offense isn't there, but it's Jonathan Quick, and I mean, he's been horrendous. So
hasn't won since November.
Has not won since November. So imagine thinking, if you don't want to go crazy, you could probably just take the money line and run home. But on full home run swing here. We're puck line. I don't see this game being a barn burner, but I do see the Islanders doing enough to cover.
And what do we got here?
Man, I'm going to stay away from this one because Quick has given up 3 or more goals in his last 5 games, and 2 of them were 10 goals and 8 goals. And anything can happen with the Islanders in scoring. Sorokin, I have 100% faith in. He'll keep them shut out. But the Quick thing, like, this could be a time for the Islanders to break out and have another big game against. And I'm pretty sure they want to pound and put the nail in the coffin on the Rangers. So I'm going to stay away from this one. A little confused on where the goals end up between the 2 teams.
If the Rangers had showed any sort of fight for any sort of extended period this season, like, this would be a spot like, all right, the Islanders coming in your building. You don't want to get regular season swept by them. They just outplayed you real good last night out on the island. Maybe the Rangers, like, they have no
Panarin either.
No Panarin either.
Panarin either. Even less offensive ability on a team that's not good offensively. Okay.
Now, got 2 more 7 o'clocks to go. Going to get to Chris's Canadians in a minute here, but Kings at Sabres, 7 o'clock, another one. Looking at the goaltending matchup here, Darcy Kemper's back. Alex Lyons got a 9-game winning streak going for the Sabres. Buffalo, 19-3-1 in their last 23 games. That is the best 23-game span in franchise history. Going back to the 70s and the French Connection and all that. Going back to the late 90s with Dominik Hasek just destroying and dominating everybody. Best stretch of franchise history. The Kings do come in on a 3-game winning streak here. If you're looking at the money line for either of these teams, Sabres home favorites -125, Kings +105 on the road. Totals 5.5. I lean under here, but I'm staying away. Like, I might even see the Kings winning tonight. I may even take a stab on them at the money line, but I'm not touching this one.
Nah.
Right there with you guys. I mean, good. Listen, but good for the Sabres, because remember, some of us, said a lot of mean things about them, and
You all have.
They've turned it around. So good for them.
Who knew that the 2 New York teams, Buffalo and the Islanders, would be priming themselves for the playoffs right now?
Not the one that's in New York City. They're going to be
the one that's in the Garden.
So there we go. So this is the first of the 15 that we've got no picks for. So sorry.
Happens, man.
Does that count as a trifecta?
I guess it counts as a trifecta the other way because we're all staying away. So now this says Avalanche at Canadians at 7 o'clock, but if you haven't heard, Colorado's wearing the Nordiques jersey.
Yeah, baby.
That old battle of Quebec back, baby. Some maybe incite some fights there. Colorado, 2-3-2 in their last 7, as dominant as they've been. It's been a bumpy road for them. Brock Nelson's got a 10-game point streak going, 10 goals, 5 assists. Cole Caulfield, 6-game goal streak. He's got 9 goals in that. Montreal this season, little stat nugget, 17-6 against the Western Conference. So maybe Montreal needs to spend a little more time out by the Rockies, and might be a little better record here. Looking on the money line, it's plus 105 home dogs for the Canadians, minus 125 for the Avalanche. 6.5 is the total here. Looking at the goaltending matchup, Jakub Dobeš is going to go for Montreal. For Colorado, they have listed.
Should be Scott Wedgwood because Blackwood played yesterday.
So there you go. So Scott Wedgwood, yeah, he's going to be the guy to go here. I actually am going to stay away from this one. Like, I looked at the over, I looked at the under. Colorado, I mean, I'm not. Sometimes you're just like, this ain't for me. This game ain't for me.
I went back and forth here a little bit for sure, but listen, let's start with the jerseys. This is like, I get what they're trying to do, but this is literally like, this is flinging sausage in front of a dog's nose and then not giving them any. Like, that's as close. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh, look at the the old nostalgia of the team you no longer have, by the way. But we'll wear the jerseys and pay tribute. But like, this could be us, but Gary doesn't want to. So anyways, that's, Gary being the best that he can be. I'm actually going to take the under here. Colorado played last night, and they for whatever reason decided not to shoot the puck on James Reimer. That was a choice in itself. I was very angry about that. They have come back down to earth a little bit. I think the loss of Devon Toews and Gabriel Landeskog has hurt them. This is a back-to-back game for them. The offense will always be there. There's no question about it. Colorado's offense can fly. The problem is their penalty, their power play doesn't. Montreal's power play has been very good, but Colorado's penalty kill is just puck pursuit. Last time these two teams met, I know they met in Colorado, it was an absolute barn burner. This game is now at the Bell Center. You know exactly what you got to do. Just do not let Nathan McKinnon run around and do whatever he wants to do. That's the game plan. It's real simple. And every time, Connor McDavid comes to town, they do a really good job of containing him. Take that same game plan, put it here. Jakub Dobeš is getting the start. He has been better. I know he's picking up wins. He's still giving up sometimes 3 goals a game. I don't think we get to 7 goals, or at least it's not a barn burner. Could I be let down somewhere? Probably yes. But I do think this game stays a lot closer than a lot of people think it will be. So I think this game will end in overtime. I just want you to know, because Montreal Canadiens go to overtime no matter what. But I will take the under 6.5 here. No question.
Colorado's 27-24 to the under and 15-10 to the under on the road. I actually played the under last night, and like, sometimes you get burned by the empty net goal, but what ends up happening sometimes is the empty net goal makes it 4-2. I'm like, all right, I'm still good, and then they get the meaningless. Like, come on, you got the empty net goal already.
Listen, Jared. Listen, I applaud Jared, but that has also creeped into my mind here, because Jared Bednar is one to gamble. He's like, doesn't matter by how many we lose. He could not care. That was right there. The double empty net goal to ruin the under. Oh, that was tough. But you don't have to worry about that tonight, Adam, because the game's going to end up in overtime. So who cares? You don't pull the goalie at overtime unless you're the Minnesota Wild.
There we go. So I'm staying away.
I agree with Chris that this game is going to be close, but I think we're going to have if I could use the term, a wrestling term, slobber knocker. I think we're going to have a lot of goals tonight with these two teams. So I'm taking the over.
Ooh. All right.
Let's go.
So over 6.5.
The Nordiques are back in town for one night.
Allegedly. the wish.com or Temu version, which actually, well, I mean,
it's a good team.
Colorado's a good team. I'm just saying they're the knockoff version of the original, but maybe they're the upgraded version from the original.
I mean, there won't be any, the Steen brothers out there. Well, no, they were Winnipeg. I'm thinking, who am I thinking? The Tremblays. That's who I'm thinking.
Yeah, close.
They won't be out. Different country of origin. Anyway, let's get to the loan. So everything is on the top of the hour tonight, which is extremely annoying. But the one that's staggered, which is the ESPN Plus Hulu game, is the 7:30 puck drop Eastern, Capitals at Red Wings. This is the final game of a 6-game road trip for the Capitals that has not gone well. 1-3-1, 4-2 goals against there. Patrick Kane becomes the all-time leader for U.S.-born hockey players with his next point past Mike Modano. Detroit hasn't lost consecutive games since November. We're looking at Charlie Lindgren versus John Gibson here. I know the Capitals have not been great lately. I'm staying away. I don't know. I just got a weird feeling about this one. Don't worry. I have picks for like the late games. I know I started off strong and now in the middle, I'm like, I'm staying away. I got plenty for the later games. So there we go. But what do you got here for this one, Chris?
I will go with the Detroit Red Wings. John Gibson's in goal. He let me down personally a couple nights ago because he had like not lost in forever. So I was like, this should continue. And then he lost. And I was like, thanks, John. But the Capitals have been kind of like, it hasn't gone well for them. They've been very inconsistent. Charlie Lindgren's coming in. I know he's been okay, but he's not Logan Thompson. So with the way the Wings have been cooking, they're a good team on home ice too. Like the Red Wings have won 18 games at home. They can play, they can keep up. Defensively, they're fine. The offense will come somewhere. They've already beaten the Capitals twice this year. Once in Detroit, once in DC. So they've done it. I think the money line is decent. I thought the gap should be wider. Vegas doesn't agree with that. So I'll take the Red Wings money line because there's just enough value there for me to say, okay, let's do this.
Minus 130 for the Red Wings money line. At most places you could find a minus 125 or 2 here or there. Our Bud and had to step away. No confirmation yet if it's teeth related. That's always a possibility.
Is he on his way to the dentist?
Possible. So here we go. So now we get into the 8 o'clock Eastern puck drop window. We got the Panthers at the Blues. It's going to be Daniil Tarasov versus Joel Hofer. Matthew Tkachuk, 16 points in his last 9 games versus St. Louis. Florida's on a 4-game road trip. They're 12-4 in their last 16 road games. So something about being away from South Florida is working for the Panthers this year. If you want to look on the money line here for the Panthers or the Blues as we refresh DraftKings, plus 136 home dog for the Blues, minus 162 road favorites. Florida Panthers totals 5.5 here. I'm going to stay away just because yes, the Blues are terrible, but if you look at their schedule, when they play teams that we would consider good or good pedigrees, they actually kind of show up sometimes. So I'm not touching this one.
Okay. I will definitely be taking the Panthers. Panthers in regulation for all the reasons you stated about them. They've been very good on the road. Matthew Tkachuk being back has kind of settled everything down there. The Blues have lost 5 in a row. They got spanked by Edmonton. They lost to Winnipeg, lost to Dallas, lost to the Kings, and then re-lost to Dallas again. Those are some pretty good teams in their division. Now they have to deal with the Florida Panthers. I don't think that they're any better. Tarasov is actually an upgrade here. He has been better than Bobrovsky, so I don't have to worry. So if it comes down to a goalie battle, I trust Tarasov over Hofer all day, any day.
There we go. You got Florida on the puck line, you said, plus 160 there, or are you going to go
in regulation?
You got to take regulation. So that regulation play for the Florida Panthers would be plus even money. So there you go. Florida wins 60 there. And they do play well on the road there. I might end up tailing you there. We'll see how it goes. But I got a few more picks in the late slate there. Coming up next, Flames at Wild. The Calgary Flames are on a 4-game winless streak where they only score 1.5 goals per game on average. Quinn Hughes has got a 6-game point streak, 1 goal and 9 assists there. I know watching chat creeping death is a Flames fan. Rough season for him. Hoping you got a new arena coming. Got that at least. Another the Wild in regulation minus 125 I would consider for sure. Money line's a little too juiced at this point for them. Minus 185. Flames plus 154. Totals 5.5. I'd lean under and I would lean Wild in regulation. Those would be my 2 plays from this game, but nothing official.
I don't want to do in regulation because both these teams enjoy playing extra hockey, giving the fans more for what they spent. The Wild have been to overtime in their last 3 games. The Flames are just terrible at scoring goals.
They are.
So I will take the under 6. I know you can still find it at certain places. I need a little bit of protection there. 1, Devin Cooley's getting the start. His goals against average on the road is sub 2. Like he has been fantastic. He has been fantastic. It's been a little bit more challenging for Philip Grubauer. He's given up more goals in his last 4. It's okay, though, because Calgary can't score. Doesn't matter where they are on the face of the earth. They can't find the back of the net.
Gustafsson, not Grubauer.
Gustafsson, right? Because I'm thinking of Grubauer.
We'll get to the Kraken later.
Unfortunate, but again, the Flames don't score. They just can't. They don't know how to score. The Flames don't figure it out. They're sellers, so just even if they will probably score 1 and then stop. So I just need Devin Cooley to be really, really good and not get lit up. Simple.
And it's back in the mix here. So we've got the Flames at the Wild is one of the games you missed. Panthers, Blues, and Capitals, Red Wings. Any play from any of those? Chris took the Red Wings money line -130. I stayed away. He took the Panthers to win in regulation at even money and the under 6 in Flames Wild. I've stayed away from all 3.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from Capitals, Red Wings, as well as Panthers and Blues. Flames at Wild. Dang, man. You know what? I'll be there with you on that one. I don't like the goal scores on this one, so I'm going to stay away from that as well.
I mean, Calgary's so terrible at scoring, so I mean that's always really a safe play there. So there we go, Flames at Wild. We've got 4 games to go on this 15-game slate. We are cruising here. A lot to get through at 6:07 o'clock Eastern time. We got the Sharks at the Oilers. Will Smith, 3 goals and 4 assists in his 5 games since returning from an upper body injury. The Oilers are on a 6-game win streak versus the Sharks, 27-8, outscoring them in that span. They've also won 14 of their last 15 against the Sharks. Leon Draisaitl has an 11-game point streak for San Jose. McDavid's got 23 points in 23 of the last 24 games against the Sharks, 41 points total there. Looking at the goaltending matchup, it's going to be Yaroslav Askarov versus Connor Ingram. If you want a money line play here for either team, Edmonton, heavy home favorites, -185. Makes sense with everything we just said. San Jose +154. The total 6.5 here. And the 6.5 is already at -155 at DraftKings. So I don't know if I've seen any 7s yet, but that one might be
7s. There's Bet 365. I don't know if that's Caesars. It might be Caesars. And Bet Rivers have 7. So I got to take the over 6.5. Seeing that line, especially with who's in net, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm putting the mortgage here on the Oilers puck line because I mean Askarov is going it's going to be a rough one. He's going to see a lot of rubber. He's going to see it early, and he might get a sunburn from the light going off in back of him. Connor Ingram has been good this year. Like he's getting enough starts. He's basically just doing the minimum required to be a goalie in the NHL, and it's working. So the Oilers are a well-oiled machine. Their power play is elite. The Sharks don't necessarily have the best penalty kill. There's going to be a lot of talent on the ice, but there's not going to be a lot of defense. So I'm fearful of what Draisaitl could do. I think he has 7 assists in the last 2 games. He's just dishing it out. We saw earlier, 5-point game from Evan Bouchard. Sorry, was it 5 or 6? It was a ton. I think it was 6. I will take the puck line just because, again, if they go to overtime, then it is what it is. But I can't take the money line. It's too juiced. The goals will probably be there over 7. Like at that point, you need the Sharks to score a lot of goals. I don't know if they will, but I do think that the Oilers could cover the puck line.
I mean, usually if that rare time you see a 7, you're like, all right, I'm going to play the under there. And I actually would lean under in this game, but no way am I actually going to play it there. At some point, I think the Sharks, you look at with everything we just said about how Edmonton has just dominated them over the last few years. Like sometimes enough's enough. Sometimes all right, that's the next step is in terms of a team's progression is, all right, we haven't beaten this team in a damn long time. But let's do something about that. I'm not touching the game. I'll enjoy watching that one. Should be exciting, but I'm staying away. Now we got 3 games to go and I've got picks for all 3. So I know I've been on a little bit of a lull there, but I'm back, baby. Ducks at Canucks, 10 o'clock Eastern puck drop here. Anaheim is 1-10-1 in their last 12 against the Canucks, surprisingly. Looking at the goaltending matchup for tonight, It's going to be, let's see here. They updated it. It's going to be Lucas Dostal versus Nikita Tolopilo. I can't say his last name. Tolopilo, I think is the right way to say it. I'm going over 6.5 minus 125 and Ducks to cover the puck line plus 175. Ducks are the top over team in the league. They have equal success in that regard, home and road. Ducks are 30-23 to the over because they give up a ton, and they're 17-8 to the over at home. These are the two worst teams in the league in average goals allowed per game. Tolopilo has allowed 6 goals in his last 2 starts. Anaheim had won 7 in a row prior to dropping 7-4 game to Edmonton. This wraps up a 5-game road trip for Anaheim, and I could see them teeing off on the Canucks. So I'm going to do 2 plays in that game.
Everybody tees off on the Canucks. That's the good news. So I will take the Ducks to win in regulation. The Canucks have exactly 5 wins at home this year. They are atrocious. They are selling. We're just going to call him Nick T because that's as far as I can get. And yes, it's been a challenge for the Ducks. They have been the definition of a Katy Perry song because they lost 9 in a row and then proceeded to win 7 in a row. I hope this is not the start of another losing streak, though, Anaheim. They are all over the place, but they can score goals. I think at some point, maybe this is a get-right spot for Dostal. There's no offensive threat here from the Canucks. None. And I just don't see them winning. So I'm going to try to steal some value. I'm hoping the Ducks can take care of business in regulation. I know they're down some bodies down the middle, but it's still a better product than whatever the Canucks are going to put out there.
Better not start a losing streak because they got 9 in a row coming up at home. As a fan, you don't want to be. The Rangers fans have had to endure that this year. Canucks fans have had to endure that. I know things are going pretty well in Orange County on a day-to-day basis. They don't. You're muted, my friend. There we go. Oh, still muted. There you go.
It froze on me there. I'll take the over 6.5 with you on this matchup here. Dostal hasn't also been great, so I could see him giving up a couple goals, but they'll take care of business against Vancouver.
Definitely one to keep an eye on later on. Probably the game of the night from the West Coast window, we'll call it. Stars at Golden Knights. It's going to be Jake Ottinger versus Adin Hill. Wyatt Johnson's got 3 goals and 3 assists in 3 games versus Vegas last season. See what happens here. I'm taking the over 6 minus 110. This is a matchup where you look at it and you're like, oh, this is probably an under. Too tough. No. Ottinger's 308 goals against, 879 save percentage in his last 10 games has gone 4-4-2. Hill has struggled all year, coming off a terrible outing when it lost 7-1, 774 save percentage in that game against the Senators. Got a 4.31 goals against and an 825 save percentage in his 4 games since returning from injury. He's been out for a few months. Maybe he gets settled in. I don't think it's necessarily tonight. I think we're going to see a lot of goals on both ends of the ring.
Yeah, I will be right there with you on the over. Adin Hill's still getting up, I would say, getting up to speed. The Golden Knights they've played 4 goalies this year. 3 of them have goals against average above 3. They do not have a single goalie with a save percentage above 900. So that's a problem. Jake Ottinger has just been miserable on the road. His overall numbers are fine, but that's a product of the team. There is so much skill on the ice tonight on both sides and such poor goaltending. I mean, over probably hits midway through the second.
It's making a trifecta for the 3rd time tonight.
Right.
My God, we are connected.
Yes. This line is on fire tonight. Look, Ottinger he's really been the prototype of what the struggles have been of having a fantasy goalie this season, right? You expect a top, you draft him early, you expect a top goaltender, and you just have not been getting that. And, in their losses, he's been giving up goals here. So the Golden Knights I think are going to score some against him, and so will the Stars score some against Hill. I think we got a good matchup here. So let's take the over, fellas.
Looking very ahead to hockey season. I can't wait to see how this year's goaltending affects because last year you had goalies going in the second round, rightfully so, based on everything new at the time. It's going to be interesting to see how that changes next season and see when the first goalie comes off. One last game to get to before we wrap things up. bid you farewell. We got the Maple Leafs at the Kraken at another 10 o'clock Eastern puck drop. Leafs are on a 5-game winless streak, 0-4-1, 1-5-2 in their last 8. Seattle is 12-5-3 since December 20th. It's going to be Anthony Stolarz versus Joey Daccord tonight. You're looking on the money line here. Kraken -108, Leafs -112. Total is 6.5. I'm actually going to go with the under 6.5 -115 here. The Kraken are the top under team in the league, 19-8 to the under at home. I know the Leafs have been giving up goals like a sieve lately, but I think Stolarz maybe settles in. Second start back since returning from injury. Kraken are the 10th best team in the league in terms of keeping teams off the scoreboard, and they're also the 8th worst in goals scored per game. So I'll take that under 6.5 -1.
I'm going to take Seattle money line. That line, Vegas kind of leaving it to a toss-up, but I mean, again, the Leafs have lost 5 in a row. They're starting a road trip. Willie Nylander's not there, flipping off cameras in the press box, eating donuts or cookies or whatever it is. The goaltending's not good. The back end is a mess. That's like, what are we doing here? Leafs are also not very good on the road, 8-11-3. Seattle is good at home, right? It's always tough for teams who are in the East, travel out west, have any type of success. The Leafs as a team are not better on the road. So, like, I don't love it. I would have actually felt better if this was Philip Grubauer starting. That's why I was thinking about him. Joey Daccord has been okay, not to the same level, but I don't know, man, how the Leafs are going to get there. I really don't. Bad power play as well. Maybe Stolarz figures it out, but I don't want to put my hard-earned money in his hands right now. So I will take Seattle, and I'll probably fall asleep this game.
Yeah, no thanks. Pass.
Stay away spot, probably the smartest man of the three of us for that game. So I got the under 6.5. Chris, I got the money line. There's way too many games to go back and recap all of our picks. We do go in time order, and you can see the banners up on the screen. So if you're watching, you're like, oh, I want to pick from the Flyers-Bruins game, just scroll back and you'll find it. You get our thoughts for those games. So there we go. 15 games wrapped up and in the books there. Now, one last thing to get to before we wrap things up. We do have one more outdoor game this weekend, Stadium Series on Sunday, the Lightning and the Bruins from Raymond James Stadium, if that's what it's still called. Buccaneers play. Very much a pirate themed, maps and stuff like that. Should be fun. And unlike the Winter Classic, we actually got a good matchup here. Bruins, Lightning, two of the better teams in the Atlantic Division. So that should be a fun one. See how that goes.
Unlike the Winter Classic as well, it will be outdoors. It's not just the roof that's open. So that game, more of an outdoor game than that thing in whatever happened in Miami.
And no football this week since the Super Bowl is not for another week. So not going to get in the way of any quality Sunday viewing.
The weather has been so bad. They were like, maybe some snow in Florida. And I was like, man, can you imagine? Like that, more of a winter classic, a little bit of snow, outside game in Florida. I don't know if it's going to happen, but still kind of fun.
Maybe they pump some fake snow in. Let's see. I saw them doing that in Miami for the Panthers Rangers game there. But, there we go. So go back in the show for our Western Conference team trade tiers, where we think they're going to go in terms of how much activity they're going to have at the deadline. We gave our fantasy ads of the week earlier in the show. Talked a little bit about the surging Islanders and just everything kind of going in the right direction for them. Now, one little note before we wrap things up and say goodbye. Next week, I'm actually going to be down at the Super Bowl in Santa Clara for a few days covering things. So I will not be able to come to you, or we won't be able to come to you on Thursday next week, which is a bummer because that's the last night of regular season games before the Olympic break, before they're off till February 25th. But we're going to come at you on Monday this week. And we'll have a pretty good slate that night. Do a normal episode on Monday and go through the board there and give you your picks there. So adjust your calendars. And then we do have an Olympic schedule for how we're going to approach that over the course of the few weeks there, with maybe doing some live pre or post. We'll see for certain matchups. But we will be with you for Total Hockey Now throughout the Olympics. We're not taking 3 weeks off. YouTube won't let that. The algorithm will kill you. Can't do that.
I have to be here to torture you guys and remind you, about the greatest hockey country on the planet.
Maybe the U.S. Finally gets over that hump and beats Canada in a medal round game. Maybe that finally happens. Let's see how the Olympics get off. What start they get off to. Now, Slapshot podcast. What was on it for this week, Chris?
Yes, I said some nice things about Brendan Gallagher because some people have been saying some mean things. So we dug into some numbers, right? We set everybody straight. And then I also picked out, right, because listen, slowly but surely, some people are getting healthy, which means tough choices have to be made in the bottom six. I tell you which players should be sitting out. 2 players have to be sent down to the AHL because it's a 23-man roster, not a 25. People disagreed with me, and guess what? Don't care because my opinion is 100% correct.
By the way, I don't know if you had this on your bingo cards this year, but Alex Lyon 1 win away from setting the Sabres record for longest win streak by a goaltender. A, who would have thought Alex Lyon would be doing that? 2, who would have thought the Sabres would be setting any sort of extended win streak? 3, having a goalie. Also, fantasyalarm.com/NHL for Chris's picks on other days of the week. Now, the Subway to Shea podcast, one of the New York baseball teams having a good offseason, doing more than just the bare minimum. I know the Yankees kept Bellinger, but what do we got going on Subway to Shea? Got on mute.
You don't get to know.
Hey, you're going to have to find out.
Yep, you have to decipher what I just said
Read
during mute. Yeah, read my words, read my lips. Last weekend, we got to break down the Freddie Peralta trade and the Luis Robert trade in the major leagues as well as the minor leagues. We had to trade a couple of top prospects, so we broke that down with a minor league guest that covers the Mets down there. This week, I don't know if I'm going to do an episode Sunday, depending. There's really not been that much news since the Mets have made this trade, so I'm going to be grasping for straws at this moment. But on Thursday next week, now that we're not having Total Hockey Now, I will have on Sal Licata, formerly of WFAN and now with SNY. So he will be on the show, and we'll break down something. There'll be something to break down, whether it's the pitchers. We got spring training coming up in a couple of weeks. So
when I interned at Sirius XM in the spring of 2005, yes, that was a long time ago. One of the guys that was helping run the newsroom at that point, Sal Licata. I don't think he would remember me, but yeah, I know Sal. 2005.
Me and Sal linked up at the Queens Baseball Convention in December, and he was supposed to come in a couple of weeks ago, but I had a little internet problem with Verizon, and it wouldn't let me go live, so we had to reschedule. So he'll be on.
I thought you were going to say you're at the dentist.
No. I could not. I could, for everything I tried, even a hotspot I tried. Nothing.
Verizon was just down for I remember that day.
Yep,
yeah,
absolutely down. Could not get the internet working, so we have rescheduled for this coming Thursday.
There you go. That'll be it. Listen, Sal's always entertaining. Good dude.
Absolutely.
As well. And of course, Rip and Riff with myself and at Mr. Jared Moore. We gave away our Super Bowl side picks for this week. Coming up on Monday, we'll talk some props. See if we got a few to throw out for you there, and of course, plenty of football and hockey to talk about on that show as well. And don't forget, Total Hockey Now. Please like, subscribe, rate, follow, all that stuff. Whatever. Help us out here. We help you out. Help us out. Everybody wins. That does it for this edition. Total Hockey Now. You can also reach out to the show, totalhockeynow@gmail.com. But for at FuzzyChris91 and at Alphabera86, hi, I'm Adam Bernard. Back with you on Monday, same time, 5 o'clock Eastern, for a complete breakdown of that. Let's get ahead and feel it. Watching everybody.